Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aliens, whatever you identify as, welcome into Hunter Houston ESG podcast. And I am back, and we're back with another exciting episode of me being a goofball and a nut. Now, before we get going, shout out to the PlayStation 8 Dead podcast, Will Schultz, Sean Powers. They had a wonderful episode this weekend. Sean was pretty lit in a very nice way. Me to say that he was entertaining in the slurring way. Uh, so it was a very good show for those who follow it. Resident Steroid has some new stuff coming out on the Resident Steroid YouTube channel. The former Luke Bro host himself. And of course, always a big thank you to everyone who listens, likes, shares, and subscribes to the podcast, and likes to share, subscribe to the channel. Maybe you just don't like your friends, and you do that on their phone. That's a good thing to do because maybe they may like the show too. But who knows? But shout out especially to all the people who do like watch the show. What I have going on in the background today is not the usual Rise of the Ronin. It's actually let me find my controller here if I can. Dun, dun, dun. It's way over there off to the sides. I can't get to it. Indiana Jones in the circle of whatever it is. But great game. Machine Games did an amazing job. I think I've said something about it a couple episodes ago, but awesome game, well put together. They do every. I mean, there's only a few things that are just kind of stupid, and it's just like do not have captions on when you're playing that game because you'll be like fascist number one, fascist number two. Who the hell is that for? It's like, oh, if you're going to do a history lesson of why Mussolini or the Italians during that time, not Italians in general, but the soldiers were, I mean, you're basically saying the soldiers were fascists. No, there were people taking orders just like anybody else. So don't be like, oh, fascist number one, fascist number two. I mean, you had to put, crap in it. I guess Todd Howard didn't see that, but it was just unnecessary. And that's the only gripe I have with the game. Other than that, turn off the subtitles. The game's unbelievably well, rather than like fascist number one, fascist number two. I mean, if you're going to do stuff like that, actually give history lessons on what fascism actually is and what it means. Fascism, for those who do not know, is when the state government works with the media, entertainment, and everything else and controls all these aspects. That is what fascism is. For those who think otherwise, you need a history lesson. So, now, moving on from Indiana Jones, that's one of the games I'm playing outside of Rise of the Ronin. There's a lot of good games coming out in February. There's really nothing coming out this month. This is the last week for you to pick up any type of thing you're wanting to do on PlayStation Network. There was a holiday season sale. I didn't really pick up much because it's not really a good sale. Now, the good news is for those who waited a whole year, because it's almost been a whole year. Now, I know our good friends, PlayStation Dead Ain't Dead podcast, he actually paid full price for it. Well, that's because he's a sucker. And he, he's slowly changing his way and is coming around to my way of thinking, which is good. But I picked it up for free, technically. And it was free for PlayStation Network subscribers. And that is the awesome and amazing game, Suicide Squad. And even for free, I probably put less than an hour into it because it's just not that entertaining. It really isn't. And I played I played games from the Atari era that's just a little bit more entertaining than that. So let's get started on some topics, and I wanted to start this out because, as I had put in the title, only fans or fans only, whichever one you want to call it. Um, Bonnie Blue. Now, this lady a couple of weeks ago was complaining on the internet that she had basically she'd been railed by a bunch of dudes, and she was complaining that she felt like that she didn't enjoy it, and she was crying on camera and got clicks or whatever. So a couple of weeks go by. She goes viral for a gentleman working at Five Guys, and I guess she's British or something. And a gentleman turns her down because he's a true king. It's I'm not into that. I'm saving myself for marriage. So shout out to that guy for being a true king and saving himself for marriage. Uh, that dude's awesome. That dude's cool guy. But she's like, "Oh, but you're so cute and you're so clever." It's like it doesn't work anymore. The it's kind of like the me do my best Lord of the Rings. The age of the whore is gone. Now walks the age. Actually, it's more of a Voltron or Optimus Prime, or the good dude plays Optimus Prime doing a voiceover for Voltron. Because this was the age of whores are gone. Now marks the day when man goes back to being strong and a man. But so anyway, this young lady, and she's not that young, by the way, but this creature, there we go. And I'm sure that she's a lovely person. And it's amazing what you'll do for money because the girl, hey man, the girl will make more money in her lifetime than me and anybody else who's probably watching this show. More power to her. But apparently, and this is not allegedly, this actually happened. She got run through by 1,000 guys within 24 hours. I don't know how you do that. I don't want to think about how you do that. I don't even want to imagine something like that. All I can say is, how could you be proud of said activities and act like you did? Like, now I understand you probably made a ton of money from clowns, like, "Oh, I gotta check that out or whatever. But how can you sleep at night? It's like, oh, I sleep on my beautiful king size bed with my lion and my Porsches downstairs and all this other crap. You know, you have to be soulless at one point in time. And just for those who don't know, uh, basically she's letting like not only letting I think dudes like all like these 1,000 dudes rail her, uh, but they're all I haven't really looked up the content because I don't even want to look at the content, but I'm assuming they all like basically gave her a cream pie, um, and I don't mean the tasty dessert treat. So and if you're familiar, because this I just learned about this recently. If you ever basically give your DNA, that's a nice way to put it, in case someone has a child in the car while they're listening to this episode for some reason, because this is probably the most filthiest episode I've done when it comes to being on YouTube. Um, your DNA stays in that person. So regardless of how many people you've been with, if they have given you the treat of the cream pie, uh, that DNA, regardless, a part of that will always stay a part of you. Will always be with you. So be careful who you let. It's like what this person was pure evil, demonic, or whatever. And note, I would love to see her eyes now, this lady's eyes, and see how dead they are. Because you can tell, like, when these girls, not these girls, but these people who talk about this stuff or do this stuff, and you look into their eyes, and they're almost like soulless zombies. It's like the only thing they care about is money. So they're almost as bad as in the episode, the South Park episode with the homeless people. It's like change, change. It's like here's some change. It's like change? I just gave you change. Change? Got any more change? Cartman cannot jump over that many homeless people. But I just don't understand this activities. I understand there's a lot of you can make a lot of money doing this, but you know I just can't understand the logic behind that. And like what is the jump off point? Like how are you going to top that? I mean, seriously, I mean, because apparently, it's like you have to keep trying to top yourself over and over and over and over again. And then there has to be a jump off point where you just kind of like check the hell out. It's like you have nothing left in the tank. Um, that's a wild, crazy story. So, for those who, want to do their fans only stuff like that, more power to you. If I ever did a fans only, it would be like me talking about old cartoons, just old cartoons I like, going into details for each episode, or like just stuff I liked as a kid, or going into like, old TV series and stuff like that. Now, speaking of TV series, or movies or cinema in general, Revenge of the Nerds. Now, I have did a small rant on this before, but I'm gonna do another rant on it because why not? And this would be the first time maybe someone's heard that rant because I think that was like episode like 25 or something, and I'm on like episode 70 at this current point in time. Even though I haven't moved a lot of stuff over to Spotify recently, and I got a lot of hate from people and people sending me hate emails saying, "I don't watch YouTube. I don't like YouTube. You need to do something else. You should put it back on Spotify." Dude, I'm working on it. I'm lazy. I apologize. I have a life, and all these other things going on. So there you go. And work, and work is unbelievably what we call in the what we call in the Home Alone world, lay incompetent currently. But Revenge of the Nerds. Now, anybody who's ever seen Revenge of the Nerds, anybody that's ever seen it, will say that's a cool movie. That's an awesome movie. I like the little thing, the nerds beat the jocks, so forth and so on. But here's what you don't get, and I hope anybody didn't have any children listen to this. Revenge of the Nerds is one of the worst movies ever made, and here's why. It's a scene that shouldn't have been in there. So the jock, which is Marcy Darcy, no, Jefferson Darcy. Sorry, because he was married to Marcy, last name Darcy, and he was also on Happy Days. So he's the jock. I can't think of his real name, but he's the jock in it. And long story short, okay, he's with a beautiful cheerleader, and the beautiful cheerleader wants to meet him to have sex in his fun house. Okay, now you would think, okay, he's going to go do this. Well, apparently something happens where he falls asleep, something takes place where he gets distracted, and the nerd pretends to be him, and he's wearing a Darth Vader helmet. Spoiler alert: the movie's only like 30 years old almost. I think it is over 30 years old now, and he straight up rapes old girl because afterwards, after he's like, "Oh, it's the best we've ever had." I don't know, it's like you've changed or whatever, and it's just like that the clarity or whatever's going on, and then he takes off the thing. It's like, "Oh wow, I didn't know it was you. It was so awesome and amazing." It's like, well, all nerds are like this. So, no. You just raped old girl. If she knew it was you, she wouldn't have had relationships with you. That was not consensual. If she would known it was you, it would not been consensual. But and whoever wrote this, man, check that dude's hard drive if he's still alive. Check up what he may have done, because there's a good chance he may have done some felonious things outside of maybe naming somebody felonious. Uh, and I have a big problem with that, because even as a child, because I was one of these 80 kids that were allowed to watch anything that my parents watched. If I watched it, well, excuse me, if they watched it, I watched it. So if it was an R-rated movie and they wanted to watch it, I'm watching it too. If it was a horror movie, which you shouldn't be showing, 7, 8-year-olds horror movies, I'm watching it too. So, wonderful parenting. No disrespect to my people, but yep, good parenting there. Now, while I'm watching this as a kid, I'm quite confused of the things. I think maybe I'm like 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 years old, and that thing never set right with me. It always put a bad taste in my mouth. And I may have seen Revenge of the Nerds all of 3 times, if that. And the only reason why I mention this because anybody's just kind of doom scrolling through Instagram or whatever, you'll sometimes run across a clip where it's like they're doing like your music saved me, and they're doing their little beta sing off thing or whatever, and it always makes me think about that trash scene of like, why would you even do that? And then basically it's like, did did they have test audiences back then that said, oh yeah, the nerd raping old girls, great, leave that shit in, or did they not have any women in the audience? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do without the rape scene. Well, it wasn't rape because she enjoyed it, afterwards, but technically it was rape. But maybe that's just a rant that's a little off, and maybe someone can comment on why I'm wrong. But I feel that was just a very wrong thing to do. Now, as I have also put in my comments here, Elon Musk fake gamer. Now, Elon, you are a very smart, intelligent dude, probably smarter than a lot of other people will ever be. Way smarter than myself, because clearly I'm here being lame and just airing out my grievances online. Where you are trying to build spaceships, get to Mars, make your electric cars, and then I think you're like trying to work on a phone, and then do Dodge or Doge, and trying to be the best at a video game, or bragging about being the best at Diablo, and then playing Path of the Exile too, and then like you get caught and busted for your bull crap, dude. Bro, gamers care. They're not like the normies who are like, "Oh, I'm pro because you're with Trump or you're with whatever." No, bro. Gamers care. Gamers will hunt you down and fact check your ass quicker than anybody else. Gamers will, dude. Gamers are so freaking hype, and so I mean, you should read stories about gamers driving halfway across the country because somebody called them something, or someone cheated in the game just to whip somebody's ass, or just to punch somebody, or the whole I forgot what it's called, where you call somebody it started with gaming, where people would call somebody and say, "Hey, so and so's over here and he has a gun," and I forgot what it's called, flagging or something another. But that all started with video gamers, and then other people picked it up for other things. But it all started with a dude was calling. I don't know if he was calling him the N word, just whipping his ass and COD. And the dude, basically found out his IP address, found out where he lived, called up, the department, and dude answered the door, and apparently answered the door with a gun or something or other, and got shot. So that has happened numerous times. And again, forgive me if I can't think of what it's called currently. I'll think of it later, maybe. But that has happened so many times. That started with gamers. Elon, if you are faking gaming, people will catch you. And again, you have more important things to do. Work on getting to Mars. Work on your Neuralink crap. Don't mess with gamers, bro. Now, I'm gonna say allegedly you're faking your two ranks when it comes to gaming, because again, if you have all these things going on, and you don't sleep. And what do you have, like 12 kids? Like, spend time with XXZYXXY. I can't do it. I got to get on Path of the Exile and become the best gamer at Path of the Exile so I can own the chuds. No, homie. You need to work on doing stuff that you're supposed to do. I mean, you were well respected, and both sides respected you for different reasons, for your entrepreneurship, your green energy plans, so forth and so on. Uh, so you know, worry about that than worrying about owning gamers, because not all gamers are leftist or right wing or whatever. Some gamers are just neutral in between libertarians. Hey yo, um, yeah, Elon, just focus on what's important and apologize to the gamers, or just pipe down about gaming. And I will say, allegedly, he is faking those numbers on the game, and gamers got to the bottom of it. I don't want to let him waste his time, like, oh, I'm gonna send out, because he seems kind of petty like that, like a little girl. It's like, I'm gonna come after anybody who criticizes me. So allegedly, you have cheated on these games to get to where you are. And again, how would you have time? Do you not sleep? Are you sleep deprived? Are you up 24 hours a day? And again, you got 12 kids, bro. Spend some time with them kids. If you ain't working on going to the moon, trying to help the country, or doing something else, spend time with your damn kids. I can't spend time with you. I just lost a position in Diablo 3. I got a hot bag on it and put the work in. So there you go. That's my little thing on Elon being a fake gamer. And gamers care more than anybody else. I mean, gamers will get you at the end of the day. Speaking of gamers and games, ladies and gentlemen, I have important news, or what I would consider important news. basically the gaming industry is asking from different reports from what I've seen from different news sites, shout out GameSpot, basically saying GTA 6 may charge $100 to make up for the bad year of 2024 in the gaming industry and try to. I'm like, is there a shared revenue going on that I should know about? It's like the movie industry where it's like, hey, one movie saves all the movie stuff like Top Gun did, Top Gun 2 did. I don't think it works that way. And so what? You're going to make them charge $100 and then like, oh well, the $30 more we decided to do, we're going to help out studios that failed because they put out trash nobody wanted. Nobody wants to hear that crap, man. And if they charge 100, look, you could GTA 6 could be the best, most down ass game there is, but nobody, and I repeat, nobody is ponying up $100 for a standard version of GTA 6. You better like give me like, all right, check this out. It comes with all the GTAs. It comes with mods. It comes with everything under the sun. And yeah, I know that's unrealistic. And they're going like, oh, well, you can just a no, man, trust me. Ain't nobody ponying up $100 right off the bat for GTA 6. Maybe if you got bones like that, ain't anybody got bones like that, kid? So nah, that's a stupid thing to ask them to do. And the fact that you want, and this is for a digital version. And my whole thing is, if you're charging $70, and the reason why gamers are kind of pissed is if you're charging $70 for a non-physical game, it is the most ridiculous crap there is. Because if the $70 would be to justify that the game is not in alpha or in beta mode, which most games in today's society, I'm sorry to be aggravated or mad, but it pisses me off to no end that the people would charge somebody $70 for a digital version of the game when if it's a digital version of the game, it should be $50, if not $39.99, because it's not a physical copy. You didn't have to put in any extra work other than get it to whatever console system you're putting it out to, stream, whatever, so forth and so on. And then you also hold the rights to take away the game if you don't like what somebody's doing or saying, which that you don't technically own it. And in America, and it's already been court cases where we have won, and maybe there needs to be more court cases where gamers sue these effing developers over this crap of trying to screw over gamers and charge them more money. Because then if they shut down something and they paid all this money, and look, gamers have won numerous times, so don't think class action lawsuits don't work. And if you're going to charge big boy money, then you better have a damn well physical copy that can work without being connected to the internet. Period. And too often, they're basically what they're trying to do more than anything else. They're trying to make gaming like phones, where it's like, oh well, your phone's 3 years old. Well, guess what? We're going to send a signal or an update to your 3-year-old phone, where it's no longer going to work right. Allegedly, we're going to send something to your phone where, like, oh well, you no longer get emails correctly, or you no longer get yada 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 correctly. But if you get the new Bloodsucker 229, well, everything works perfectly. And those features that we took out of the one that you had 3 years ago? Well, those and the ones that were like 5 years older that had those features that you liked, but we took out because it was easy and fun to use. Well, they're back. And that's basically what they're doing with phones. Is they're doing that type of crap, and they want to do that to video games. By the way, they do that. They already do it in some video games like Madden, where it's like, oh, remember this feature you used to like, or even just certain video games in general that are like sports titles. Like, oh, remember that thing you used to like, where you used to use the right stick to do a crossover or whatever. Well, guess what? It's back. Yep, I know we took it out where you could do certain things that you like, excuse me, but now it's back. And it's only going to be $20 more to get that feature. I mean, we're talking about, you know, the thing that happened to the insurance people and the other thing, it's like the insurance CEO and stuff like that. I'm not saying going after gamers or gamer CEOs. I'm not saying anything like that. But you're pissing people off over petty stuff, man. Over petty stuff that you should already put in the game, and it shouldn't be an extra feature. It's like when Sega, when they were doing Yakuza, Like a Dragon Infinity. It was either Infinity or the very first Like a Dragon game. Uh, they charged, I was either $10 or $5 for a plus game. For a plus game. And they got ratioed to death and people flat out beat at them. Now lucky they're Japanese and they'll listen. Now if it was Americans or Canadians or some, other trash company, they were like, well, that's the price of business, and we didn't want to do it, but we were forced to. I always go back to Todd Howard, even though I love Todd Howard for putting out the new Indiana Jones game with Machine being the executive producer and everything. But I go back to him and the horse armor. That $2 or that $2.99 horse armor is what started the downward spiral of DLC content rather than having complete games. So thank you, Todd Howard. That's a sarcastic thank you, by the way. So eat it, buddy. But yeah, Madden has been that way the last couple of years. But this thing with GTA 6 costing $100, would anybody out there pay $100 to have GTA 6? Seriously, would you? I don't think I would. I'd be like, yo, I'll wait till it go down like 50. But I ain't paying that type of money. Now, before we get out of here, as always, because I ain't, as much as I say I don't like Star Wars. I love Star Wars. The new Skeleton Crew, even though it's a kid show with Jude Law, it's a good show. Please give it a try. Watch at least one episode, so maybe they can get like another season out of it. Actors need work. Jude Law doesn't because he's had enough work, but maybe those kids do, so they can you know support their habits, whatever their habit may be. Hopefully, it's video games. But my real news and I'm sure everybody knows about this who follows Star Wars and loves Star Wars, is that they're apparently going to move on to the Knights of the Old Republic. And I don't know if they're actually going to do the movies of Knights of the Old Republic or they're just going to stay within the realm of Knights of the Old Republic, which they'd be better off staying within the realm of Knights of the Old Republic, where the Sith were vast in numbers and had a home planet. For those who are not familiar with Knights of the Old Republic, which is actually based off of a video game made by BioWare at the time, and then Obsidian did the second one, and then of course BioWare did the MMO. But apparently, Kathleen Kennedy and many others want to go within those guidelines. And to me, it's like if you're going to do this, it has to be three movies in order to do Revan's story. And that's just to do Revan's first part of the story. That's not to do Revan's whole story because his story is so good, so great. Look it up. His whole story is one of the most amazing thrill rides ever. And Keanu Reeves is almost too old to play it. So, you should have pulled the trigger on this 10 years ago when Keanu was like still feeling it. I think Keanu's almost like 50 now or he's in mid 50s. So he's a little too old to be Revan, you know, but I don't know, maybe Star Wars, how Star Wars works out, stuntman, do all the stunts and everything cuz you do get to wear the Mandalorian mask, so it doesn't have to be him when the mask is on doing the fight scenes. It could be anybody. So that works. But definitely him as that, and Basila needs to be. I don't know. I mean, if they were going to do Basila and hopefully do Basila correct, get somebody that actually loves Star Wars. Some girl does cosplay that actually looks like Basila and actually knows who the character is inside and out. And then if she can't do voice acting, you can have someone do voiceovers for her. And the redub the art, when you set in the booth and you redo it and have someone else do her voiceovers. So if you're gonna do art, Knights of the Republic, fine, but do it correctly. Because I guarantee you, you don't. If you mess that up, literally, people will. It's not even only a checkout. They'll be like openly like having like bonfires and burning all their collectibilias as if Star Wars never existed. If you mess up Kotar, so don't do it. Don't think about doing it. Don't even have it in the back of your mind to do it. Kotar is too important to Star Wars fans. And this is people that didn't even play. By the way, people who just read the books or looked at the videos. People that didn't even play the game are like, "Yo, that's an important story. Don't don't mess that up." Now, again, I'd like to thank all the people who listen, like the show, share the show. Thank y'all as always. I probably the next show I will probably get around to doing the emails. Sorry I didn't get to people. Um, you know who you are, so I apologize. So I will get to them next show, hopefully. But I just had to get these things off my chest, and it's just kind of annoying sometimes, man. I mean, I hate to be so mad and full of rage over some of these things, but it's like, how could you do that to fans and want to charge people $100 for a game for a base titled game, and then like justify that, oh well, the gaming industry didn't make, buddy, whoever writes these articles just know how to just make people unbelievably mad. But as always, aliens, people, persons, whatever you identify as, please have a safe, wonderful, and amazing night. Thank you again. Peace out, Girl Scouts.